Okay, fifth in the series on a modest or unreasonable atheism. This one on the problem of evil. Certainly the most traditional objection to the existence of God. Again, I take the formulation basically from David Hume's Dialogues Concerning Natural Religion. Now, let's make it not an argument from evil per se, but an argument from the existence of undeserved suffering. And I think that it's hard to deny that there is undeserved suffering in this world. You know, a famine takes a whole region and it starves the good people, the bad people, and the mixed people. You know, a tsunami hits and drowns babies. Or, you know, children are born with HIV and no access to treatment, etc., etc., etc. Of course, it may be that all this suffering is deserved and little babies deserve all the pain they can possibly absorb. And this has been seriously held, for example, by Augustine with regard to the doctrine of original sin. But as an answer to the problem of evil, that would only be as good as the reasons to believe in original sin, and I don't think there are any reasons to believe in original sin, and I think it arises from a certain kind of warped version of religious faith, not from any kind of argument. Alright, well, here's the argument. Let's think of God as an omnipotent and omnibenevolent, that is perfectly good being, as the monotheisms, Judaism, Christianity, Islam do think of God. Now, if God is all-powerful, omnipotent, then he can prevent undeserved suffering. And if he is perfectly good, then he wants to prevent undeserved suffering. But there is undeserved suffering, so therefore no perfectly good and all-powerful God exists. It's a pretty knockdown type of argument. But there are responses. A response to the problem of evil is known as a theodicy. Now I'm going to give a version of what's known as the soul-making theodicy, and I'm following here the contemporary philosopher of religion, John Hick. First of all, let's start with the free will response, the most traditional theodicy, which is that this world is a moral proving ground. And God allows us to have free will. A universe with free will is better than a universe without one, without free will. And if we have free will, that means we have a genuine choice between good and evil. And if that's the case, then sometimes we will choose evil and bad things will happen. That seems fairly reasonable, although here's a problem. Much undeserved suffering is not caused by human free choice. It's caused by natural disasters, for example. And so how will we explain that? Well, the soul-making theodicy would continue. In order for this world to constitute a moral proving ground, it must be subject to the mechanical operation of physical laws, because you have to be able to predict the consequences of your actions. So, for example, let's take a universe in which God deflected bullets every time they were about to hit a child. Offhand, that strikes you as a better universe than this universe. And if there could be a better universe than this universe, then an all-powerful, perfectly good God does not exist. That is, as Leibniz has concluded, and as Voltaire made fun of him for concluding, this is the best of all possible worlds, if God exists. Alright, well, in a world where God deflects bullets before they hit children, it's not wrong to shoot at children. I mean, you can't hit the little buggers anyway. You might as well, you know, just head over to the daycare center and have some fun. There's no moral consequences to it, you know, probably, more or less. I guess you might scare the little children, that wouldn't be good. So, a universe, the best possible universe is a universe with creatures with free will and operates by mechanical laws. So, a question might be whether the mechanical laws we actually have, the laws of physics, and the situations they produce, given an initial arrangement of matter, I guess, like a Big Bang, really do constitute the best possible universe. But the question of whether there could be better laws of physics is an extremely obscure question. I don't know how I would start to answer such a thing. So I say I feel the compelling quality of the problem of evil is probably basically ultimately why I'm an atheist, although maybe not in its argumentative form. But there are responses that at least deflect the decisiveness of the problem of evil. But like the argument from design, the problem of evil expresses a fundamental sense of the way the universe is, that there is genuine evil, there is genuine undeserved suffering in our world. And people who take the problem of evil seriously in this way resolve to face that, to believe it, to be true to their own experience of this world, and to take seriously the suffering of other people. Again, I don't think that is finally an argumentative matter. It's a sense of the kind of world we live in, and it's the motivation for a modest atheism. It might even be a motivation, I guess, if you're really dark, for thinking that there's an evil God. The universe was created by Satan, and people have entertained that idea, but that's not my position. So we'll go on, and I'm going to try to explain my atheism and its sources a little more carefully in the next bit. Later.